So we did the first part. I think we're up to, in mine, it's the paragraph that starts V'hinei nira.
Right, okay.
V'hinei nira, so he's going to make a chap to farm, make a case. Meshkachas lein muksa gabi b'chor the yisla yedei zelak rava. He said you could have a case where the animal will become, even though it's a b'chor, it'll become muksa, and therefore you won't be able to be makriv it, because that's what it said over there, that muksa is all the psulim is bath. So he says, look at this, how he's able to figure out a case. It's unbelievable. I saw this right before. Ayin tosel b'choras dafla medchas and beis dibra masculo simanech. The teretz hasheni, according to the, I didn't see the tosel, but the teretz hasheni tosel mum she'enu over me'elav. We have a mum that doesn't go away by itself. So the question is that a mum kavua v'yachol lavra yedei refuah, but rofim could get rid of it. So the question is that a mum kavua, or is that a mum over? So he says, so Tosa says, Shaper have a mum kavua, since without the rof refuah it's going to remain, it's called a mum kavua, and it's like the din is a bechor, which has a mum kavua is no longer right for the mizbeach, and you can, it's still the Cohen's, but you shechted it even in the Medina. There's no Shaper have a mum. Tosa says that's called a mum kavua. Lish kodol Medina. Right? So, Ayin Marit Al Gazi, this I saw, but it's unbelievable. The Perek Vav Kosav, Mikom Makom, Imamum Nisrape. But if you are Merape, that mum, so it goes away, he says, Chaza L'Gdushaso. Now that animal is going to be a regular Bechor without a mum, and it's going to have Kedushas Mizbech, that you're going to be Makravit. It's amazing. In other words, the Shas had this mum over.
You actually shecht it.
You would it didn't have any kedushas mizbeach, and you'd be able to shecht in the Medina.
Right.
For some reason, it remains a bechor that if the moon goes away, it's going to get kedushas mizbeach. I don't know how that works. How could it be ois kedushas mizbeach, then it gets kedushas mizbeach? I don't know how that works. But he says it works. The mikamak and the moon.
So you're saying during the time that has the moon,
you can shecht it in the Medina, so obviously it doesn't have kedushas mizbeach.
But that's so it doesn't. So therefore, how does it get back? So then you're saying it's a mum. I mean, the fact is, if it's a mum, when he says before,
it's called the mum kavua.
But
if you're merape and it goes away, then it's going to have kedushas. It's going to go back to kedushas mizbeach. Like you look at it as if the mum was never there. I don't know how you do that, but I don't understand the story behind it. So all he's saying is, if you accept it, he's not explaining that, but he's just saying if you accept that, so then you could have a case. So the Bechor had this kind of mum.
So he's understanding that in Tosos. He's saying that
he's the Merid al-Ghazi. He's saying that according to that Tosos. Right. And therefore the Minchas Chinuch is saying according to that Cheshbon. So when it has that mum, if the owner would be makatzit for Avodah would be muksa, because he is the bailim, he could check it. I mean, the Kohen, it could become muksa, and then when the mum goes away, it has refuah, it'll be a case of that it's possible to mizbeach because it's muksa.
So the muksa stays with it.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. If it was muksa, the whole problem was how could it be muksa if once it's a bechor has kedusha, you can't.
But here it doesn't have kedusha for muksa, and then afterwards you get the kedusha back.
The Roy Lakrava. So when it comes back, according to it's not the Tosa doesn't say it, but he says the Merid al-Ghazi says that. So it's going to be Roy Lakrava. Kavur b'yumasaf da'av mum bum. After Bisman, I don't know what that Tosa says. After Bisman, Shahaya ba'amum hoya nishcha the Medina. Even though when it did have the mum, you could shecht it in the Medina, so it didn't have kedusha mizbeach. It wasn't Roy Lakrava. Mikom makam chaza the kedushas harishana ayin sham barichus. So maybe he explains it there. Or maybe he just brings it out. Im kain. So he says if you accept that, in bechor hoya ba'amum kavua shein over rak hoya sam. So if you had a bechor that had a mum kavua, which could go away through a medicine, like a calls man shahaya b'mum kavu, as long as the mum was there, have a mum and bailim, because you could check that and eat it, right? K'mavur b'vavakama yid beza and beza ram and kan perik halav halacha gimel. Im kain, im oz hikso sol avodah zarah. There's no reason it shouldn't become muksa. K'mo behemas chulin. V'machar zeh nisrape, and then it got better because they gave it the medicine, whatever it is. Chazer l'klishaso. It becomes kaddish. You're not going to be able to be makar because it's muksa. The yira, so you'd have to let it graze. The little chazi like rabak, even the muksa. The gam lo nishcha b'medina, you can't check it anymore. Even the bo mum, because it's regular has kedusha of a bechor because it doesn't have a mum now. But al elu ain't shofim medina u'emekdash. And this kind of animal, since it's muksa, you can't check the medina. But you can't check the mikdash either because it's possible for akrav else the muksa. When you came, then would be yira. Shayach shaper gave it before muksa. So can you imagine? He figured out this case.
Yeah.
To work out muksa.
It's not. It's. That's just. That's not. Tosas doesn't say that.
Torah doesn't say that. That's Merid al-Gazi shot in Tosas that it's going to come back.
It's going to come back, but Tosas doesn't say it. Tosas is just basically saying
that it's a mum kavu. That's called.
I guess that's a shayla. Even though
you could remove it with the rapid, yeah.
Right, it's still a mum kavu. But then you treat it as a mum kavu. And then Real Gazi is throwing out the fact that
if you do marapeh, if you don't shift it, if you're marapeh it and the mum goes away, then it's going to it's going to be like a bechor with kedushas mizbeach.
The other shot would be
it remains that once it had the mum, it's lost kedushas mizbeach and it's no longer.
And it would be theoretically like it still had the mum kavua.
Yeah.
It would be just you're marapeh, but it has a din of a mum kavua. So as of the kedusha comes back. But that kind of situation, though, it's hard to understand why they would call it a mum kavua. It should be.
Well, Tosa says it's a mum kavua. You could shecht it in the Medina, so.
No, but that once. In other words, you would think that mum kavua has some permanence to it. So the idea is that the idea that mum kavuna defines it as permanently puzzle, and it's a concept mum kavua says permanently puzzle. So here it's a question because you need to do something to take away its mum, but that still can define it as mum kavua. So then you understand why this mum continues on, but. I mean, it's really difficult to understand that here you have something that you can do something to bring back its kedusha, but still you can shecht it in Medina. That's
Must be that even an animal, a bechor that has a mum kavua, is still called a bechor, and at birth they got the kedushas bechor, so calls him on it has a mum and loses the kedusha, but once the mum goes away, and like in this case, it remained the bechor the whole time, so it automatically has kedushas mizbeach. You don't not makdash it or anything like that, but an animal that was born in mum, which is roy la krava, has kedushas mizbeach.
I can understand saying you can't be makriv. Once it has this mum kavua that needs proof, I can understand not being makar of it. But if it has a semblance of that kedusha, then you should also not be able to shecht in the Medina. In other words,
but it doesn't, as long as the mum is there. I mean, that's what Merid al-Gazi chiddush. I'm telling you, Merid al-Gazi is saying a chiddush that since it's not roy la kravi, you could shecht in the Medina. It does not have the kedushas mistach at that time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, that's a big chiddush, but the Minchas Chinuch was able to figure out a case. You know, he's had a crash of muksa by a bechor, and he was able to figure out this case. It's like once he says it, it's easy. But to figure it out. He says, "Ach l'shitas harash." He says this is only a good mahalach according to Tosas. Ach l'shitas harash shekasav dafilu bal mum einu mum and balim So then you're not going to be able to make it muksa even if it is a mum, right? Kasha. Divrei Rush Sasri Adadi. He says there's a spirit in the rush of Asmama Balanat. I am the Sigurd of the Parakama. He says where? I am Bevan Ezer Sof Simon Chas Achronim. I guess there's a steer in the rush that they work on. Avokula Maskimim de Balmum Havi Mama Balim. And everyone else, I guess not that rush which has a steer, holds it is Mama Balim, so then he could be Makatzit. He became Mishkachas Le Shaper. This case, Ulkam in Parshas Amor Yavor Din Zem Amum Overai De Refuah Echadin Ladas HaRambam. Is the Rambam hold it's a Mum Kavua or not a Mum Kavua? Avol Mum Over. He says, but if an animal just has a mum over, a temporary mum, not this case. In other words, even the low nishkadai, they mums out of Medina, you're not allowed to shech to the Medina fakir. You have to wait till the mum goes away and then be makravit. Lo, then that's not a good case because lo avi mum and balim. The mum over is not mum and balim. He's only saying his shot in this case where it's considered a mum kavua. Ach mum kavua, the rov shizas avi mum and balim can mevali nesem rishon moksa. Achirization is ramping and roy lakmi nachmas muksa. So there, that's where you would have a psul of muksa. Okay. So now we're back to the chinuch, and like chinuch says, there's a whole parsha what mumen are kavua, what mumen are mum overs, and the different halachas. Then he says umi neman al mum of who's neman to say about a mum im naflubo. It's got a mum. Oh, someone made the mum, because if someone makes the mum, there's a knas, I think. So you have to know who's neman to say where this mum came from. Sakna men chaschinuch umi neman. Ayin b'choros u'Rambam kan perik beis. U'v'tur with me?
Okay.
U'v'tur Yeridei Siman Shin Yadalet.
Right.
Dinim Eila ba'arichus as far as who's neman. V'lashon atur. HaKohanim chashudim lahatil mum b'bchor. We don't trust Kohanim. We're afraid that they will go at purposely nowadays, not as that, to make a mum. Why? Because if they don't make a mum and they have this before, what are they going to do with it? It's kaddish, and they have to take care of it until it grazes and somehow gets a mum, which is a big problem. It's a big pain to have a boom, an animal around. You can't do anything with it. You can't be makrivid nowadays, and you can't check it because it's kaddish, it's kedusha. So you have to wait till it gets a mum, and so that you have the whole tirch of taking care of this thing. So the kohanim, to avoid this problem, will badafka go and make a mum, and then they'll be able to check it. So they were choshed kohanim for doing that. Well, the fikach call mum.
Well, the choshed the kohanim will
purposely go and make a mum. So because then they can say they got a mum, and they'll shecht it.
Okay, so it's not the choshesh that they would incorrectly read a mum as a mum. It's like they actually go and do something.
Actually, mum is going to, yeah.
I mean, it's a little more of a. I mean,
well, it's a big nisayon. You could take care of this animal for years,
right,
and have it around, and so there was a chashad that they'll make a mum. That's what he said. Akonin chashudim lahatul mum.
Right, I saw that.
So sarach sheyidu, so sarach sheyidu shemei atzmo nafel. So nowadays, if you have a b'chor with a mum, you have to have someone testifying that this mum came atzmo, and the kohen didn't do it, because if the kohen did it, there was even though it's still a balmum, but there was a knas that you couldn't check and eat it. So therefore, if you have it before nowadays with a mum, you have to know where did this mum come from. That it happened to the animal, on its own. The kohen didn't go ahead and do it. So you can't trust the kohen to say, well, it happened and I didn't do it. Okay, that's the halacha. So I read al-Gazi Herich was that. Idafka bisman hazad al-Chazi la-Akrav al-Tarach Gadol al-Kohen al-Kain hu chashav lahatel mum ve'eno neman, which is the way I understood it. Avol, according to this, bisman ha-beis ha-mekdesh ein alav Tarach. because he could be makriv. He doesn't have to take care of it till it's kiyachol lahakrivo. Rak hu mafsid ha'emurim. But if he's going to be makriv, so the parts that go on in his bayach me'emurim, he's not going to have. Where if he makes a mum, then he's going to be able to check the whole thing.
Okay.
The gam eina yachol achil l'chaladim, and also if there is no mum and it's being makriv, besides the fact that he's going to lose the emurim, he's not going to be able to give it to anyone and sell it to anyone because it has to be in as a korban and it has to be in by him or his family as a vadim. Whereas if there's a mum over there, we said like he could sell it to everybody to eat, right? So his question is maybe that he was kosher even in the first way is the way I understand his manazah he's kosher. Where the Gali says maybe he was even kosher in the Beis HaMikdash for making a mum because he's gaining that the emurim and he's gaining that he'll be able to sell it to people. B'shil davar zeh, so but could be b'shil davar zeh ain't a chashud l'hat mum v'neman ha'kohen. It could be for this chashad we weren't worried about. So maybe fakir even the base of the time of the base of Mikdash there was a chashad he would make a mum that ain't no neman. I didn't know that at all. I mean the Torah he's going to say because we just read the Torah. The Torah said the kohanim chashudim l'hatil because there's a Torah gadol l'tapel b'mach yumam, right? So you see, he said, "Divrei HaTorah." That's what the Minchas Chinuch was saying. Divrei HaTorah near dafka b'zman hazeh. But anyway,
when the Torah throws in a reason like that, would that be? Was he? In other words, since the Torah is speaking b'zman hazeh, by throwing in that reason, you're saying that he's saying even in, but you could trust the Kohen in the Zman HaMikdash. In other words, he might just be throwing out that reason because it's applicable with Zman hazeh. It's a good reason for Zman hazeh, but maybe you could say he wouldn't throw out that reason because.
I don't hear that. I mean, if he's saying this reason, he's saying that's where there was a knas, and that's why he's not neman.
So you're saying that was the original reason for the knas, and therefore it's not. Okay. No, I understand that.
He says, "Medivri Torah near daf b'zman hazeh ayin sham pilp." So look in this Meridal Gazi pilpul oruch. For Harbe Rayas, the after Bisman Hazeh Chashad, so he comes to the Maskana that's only Bisman Hazeh, there's a Chashad below Bisman Abayas. The Ein Hazman Maskin, that's his way of saying he doesn't have time to go into this. It's very interesting because when they have these Shilas, they end up having to bring Rayas from the Gemara. I mean, Meridal Gazi just doesn't have the Shilah, he has to be married to try to prove it from Gemaras or Rishonim and stuff like that. So you have to. It's one thing to clear the shalas, but it's another thing to be mevared from rayas, from gemaras, or rishonim that he said he has a pilpul aruch. Okay. So anyway, you need so nowadays at least you have to know that the Kohen didn't do it. Or so the language of the chinuch was imnaflubo. If this mum just came on it with no one, the Kohen didn't do it personally. Or nasa bo l'das, it was done the das by the Kohen.
This kas is a drabanan, right?
Yeah.
It had to be a drabanan. And he's saying the kanas also applied bisman bias. I mean the kas wasn't just. In other words, if you're saying there's this chashad, you're concerned about the Kohen doing it.
If you hold your work kosher bisman bias.
No, what I'm trying to. In other words, he's saying the issue over here he's saying is just that he says kol chashud l'hatil mum. Okay, because in other words, there's two issues here. You're saying the Kohen is chashud to do a mum, bisman hazeh, but not bisman bias. Because
what's the din if he did it bisman bias? If he did do it bisman bias, is there a knas or not? That's what you're asking.
I'm trying to figure that. In other words, where did the knas come about? The fact is that if the knas exists in bisman bias, must have been a concern for not doing it. What I'm also really trying to figure out is what's the problem with the Kohen doing a mum. In Zmanas bias, you're actually taking away, you take away the kedusha, you're taking away the korban. Zman hazeh, if
I think he's going to mention that that's a whole big question. I think most people hold this manazah, since he actually can't be makar, but it's only a derabbanan. That's what he's going to go into.
So it's only a derabbanan to
make a move.
So it's really a very strange idea that the fact is.
So let's see it. I think that's what he's going to do.
I mean, it makes this whole
let's
thing
read
much
the
more
next
difficult.
paragraph. Naflu bo. So the Chinuch's words were if the moon fell on it on its own, or nasa b'ladas, we have to know if or the Kohen did oladas. Ayin shas b'choris teflam adalam alav. The Rambam kan perik beis halach zayin the Tur Yordei Siman Shin Yud Gimel. Dim asa b'yadayim. That if the Kohen did it b'yadayim, Kiven she'over alav da talasmum, since it was an avera, there's a losa, so he's saying of a talasmum, asher l'shavto, so we don't say, well, it has a mum, and now you could shecht it. Mum zeh, achiyipo bo mum macher, unless it gets another mum that would allow you to shecht it. For who, where is this, why is it asher? For who machmas knas? For lo konsu b'no achav, I guess that means if the Kohen did it, there was a knas. But if the Kohen dies and the son yershes it, I guess there is no longer a knas. Va'afilu lo asa b'yadayim rak l'daito. I guess it means, that probably means that even if the Kohen himself didn't do it, but he had people do it for him or something like that, it's still a knas. Hakol aser machmas gzeira. Because if you let him shecht it, he'll come to do it, right? But aser l'shavto al mum zeh, so therefore you can't shecht it after he gets this mum. Now he says what I told you. I looked at this today a little bit. Vafilu b'zman hazeh de'enu chazi la'akrava, because we don't have the base of mikdash. So v'im harbe rishonim de'enis Torah batolos mum. So you see it's the machokas rishonim. Because some people say for it has kedusha as mizbech and there's not tolos mum, but some people say since the ma'aseh you can't be makar bit. There's no lav. And Raman Perakal Miserim Mizbech Ulkamukar is that parashas where he's going to go into the Shahirak, the Totally Shem Mizbech Benyanim Elu, it's the racer of the Rabbanim. Bikomakam Konsul Chazal Shalosh Dushcho Bechor Al Mumzah. So even if the Isser is only the Rabbanim to Isser left, and they still made a Knas. Okay.
But that really contradicts what he said before. He said the Knas, they made the Knas even when it was a Deraisa. It's a Deraisa mum. There's a Deraisa thing not to cause a mum, so they made the Knas.
So now he's saying, and according to these Rishonim, they made the Knas even if it was a Derbanim.
Right, but I'm looking at before that the Kodem Chashum Hatil Mum before Miyeshlo Torah Godly Torah. I know, so I'm trying to work out this thing that the Kohanim are chashid, but he seems only chashid Bizman Hazeh. In other words, you could believe a Kohen in the time of the bias, right, because they're not chashid on making a mum then, or because it was Nisa Deraisa. Right? But was Nisa Derabanan, it was Nisa Deraisa, Chazal made a Knas, but it's quite possible you still weren't chashid that the Kohanim would do that because Nisa Deraisa. Later it became Nisa Derabanan. There was a Knas of Nisa Derabanan, but there was also chashad they can't trust him. It would seem to be but putting them both together, that would be.
Okay.
Right?
Could be.
I'm just. It would seem that you're only chashad. You might be only chashad on the Kohen doing this because it's Nisa Derabanan. They wouldn't think of doing it with Nisa Deraisa.
Could be.
Okay, I'm just.
Yeah, I don't know. I hear.
Yeah.
Ayin Rashi Sham the Mishnah is a Mishnah that's Saram Ozen V'chor. That's a certain type of mum by the Ozen. Pirish, the Hainu, the Rashi says that Kohen should hit the mum. Rashi says the Kohen did it. I guess that's the Mishnah that speaks about the Knas. V'ayin B'marid Al-Gazi Amad Bazel Lama Davka Kohen. What if a Jew did it? Gamim Yisrael Osa Mum Lama Lo Konsu. Why shouldn't there be a Knas of a Jew? He's also not allowed to be Matil Mum in a Bechor. So why shouldn't there be a Knas even if he did it? V'ayin Shekasav the Be'odo B'Rishus Yisrael B'Asa Mum. If he didn't give it to the Kohen yet and he has it and he made a Mum Lo Shaykh L'Konso. Ki hu tzarach litno l'kohen, because what was his obligation to do? His obligation is, even whether it has a mum or not, he has to give it to the kohen. So what are you going to do? Give him a knas? Because you made a mum. What are you going to gain by giving him a knas? Anyway, you can't check the money. Anyway, he's going to have to give it to the kohen. But lama yiknasu, so who's going to end up with this knas? The kohen's going to end up getting knas, because Yisrael anyway is not going to be able to check. But lama yiknasu the kohen ala verish also Yisrael. But lama nafsi the kohen b'china. He said, "Eina chinami de lo b'emes." But if it was a suffix b'chor, the din is she'enu nos l'kohen b'mumen, the mumo, that you could be makel, I guess, that suffix mamon l'kula, so you don't have to give it to the kohen, because if it's a b'chor with a mum, you have to give it. But if it's not a b'chor, it's a suffix b'chor, so then you don't have to give it. V'chein im nafal Yisrael b'chor me'avi imo kohen. So the enu, so it was already the kohen's, and he jarshened it. The enu tzarach litno l'kohen acher b'mumo, so if it gets a mum, then he doesn't have to go to a kohen. But v'adei asa bo mum consul Yisrael. That's what the Rabbi Gazi says, that really Yisrael should have a knas. The only reason, by a normal case, there's no Indian giving him a knas, because anyway he has to give it to the kohen, so all you're causing with the knas is to the kohen. But if you have a case where he made a mum, and a case where he wouldn't have to give it to the kohen, he's giving you two cases where Yarshan it from Avim Kohen, or the case of Suffolk. Ein Shem Shapilpul Plazela Das Haramim the Silver Spake of the Rice Minatera Lakula Yunkain Enu Us Minatera Lahato Bimum Yim Kanso Gam Bechai Gavna. Did they give a, by a Suffolk Bechor, did they give a Knas? Because Minatera is Mutter, and even though it's Mirabban and Asr, maybe Bechai Gavna, that it was a Suffolk, they didn't give a Knas. Achnerim Yisigas Ashas, the after the Rabbanan Kansu, Afas Manazah. But he's saying, but since we see that the latter Rishonim hold that the Rabbanim is Manazah, and there's a Kansu is Manazah, wrote the post concerned that Talos Mum Hurakis the Rabbanan. So therefore he's saying that even in the case of Suffolk Bechor, even if you hold like the Rambam that Suffolk Bechor is the race of the Kul, it's only the Rabbanan, but still with the Rabbanan you can't make a boom, there's going to be a Knas. Okay. Old Kasav Sham, Murder Gassi, that Filu Makro La'acher O Naso La'acher, that if the Kohen sold it to someone else, or gave it to someone else, Vikom Makom Oso La'acher Oser L'Shofto, and there was a mum, and the Kohen sold it, so the other person can't shecht it. The Yesh Lahanos and Olamocher Hanoam Mizeh, because the Kohen who's selling it or giving it is going to benefit. If the buyer is going to be able to shecht it, so then the Kohen is going to benefit because he was able to, from the moon, because then he was able to sell it and get this benefit. I guess Nasin is considered a benefit because he's Makar Tov, and Mofer you get money for it, right? Ach im Machol Chavero Bezul Kmo B'chor Tam, but if he sold it for a cheap price, like the value of the B'chor Tam, Him Kain Eino Nena, the fact that it has a mum, he's not getting a Noah, whereas the mum didn't give him any Zman Chap, the B'chor Tam you're allowed to sell B'zman Hazeh. I guess, I don't know. In Kain Eino Nena, in such a case he's not going to Nena because he didn't gain anything by the mum. So then mutter lach l'shachto, so then someone else could shecht. There was no reason to give a knas to the other person.
And only shechted after the mum, though, right?
Right.
So maybe.
Go ahead.
B'chor Tam, what you're doing is you're just selling the right to shecht it once it gets a mum. Yeah. What is it?
So that's you get little money, so that's what he means over here. So if there was a moon when he sold it at that price, so then he didn't gain from the moon. Okay.
But with that person, if he doesn't fall, I guess we might be fall through. If that person is trusted on that person has a knas. The person that.
Why? What did he do wrong?
If he made a mum,
the Kohen made the mum and he sold it to the other person.
One second. He says before Tam, the Kohen made the moon, so
and sold it. So he said there you're going to the other guy can't shecht it because then the Kohen is going to benefit from the shechita because he got a good money for it. But if he only sold it at a cheap price like a before Tam,
but he couldn't sell it before Tam. He can only sell it after it had the moon.
I don't know the case of before Tam. You're telling me that maybe you could sell it before Tam as one as to someone who's ready to take care of it till it gets a moon.
That's what I'm trying to figure out here. Whether it's only that he's selling it. If it already has a moon.
The case he's talking about, it wasn't the before Tam. He's just saying that if he sold this animal after it got a moon, right? The question is the seller being nana or not? So he's saying if he sold it Bazul, which is the amount of money he would get for before Tam, so then the moon didn't help him because he didn't get any more money because he made the moon. But it just was mashma that he would be able to sell it before Tam Bazul, of course, because no one's going to pay him good money because no one can use it until it gets a moon.
Yeah, but then this guy's able to use the right. He says mutulach lo shachto. The guy doesn't have to wait. In other words, it's a difficult case because the guy can shecht it right away. In other words, if it's
so the guy's going to shecht it right away.
But
the seller wasn't
then the person
not the before Tam. He's saying in the regular case where it had a moon, the other guy will shecht it right away.
But he wants to sell it at a before Tam price.
So it has a moon. But it has a moon. So he's selling it at a before Tam price.
I understand, but I guess before Tam price, you have to take into consideration that the guy can't shecht it. In other words, if it was an actual before Tam, the guy could not shecht it. He'd have to wait to shecht it.
That's why he'll only pay a cheap price.
But whatever cheap price he's going to get is going to have some benefit from having the moon. In other words, the guy who's buying it because
if it went to the moon, he would have been able to. Let's say he could sell it before Tam for $5. So now that this has a mum, if he sold it for $5, he didn't benefit from the mum because even if there was no mum, he would have gotten $5 for it.
Okay, I'm just wondering how that sale would happen because the guy has to wait till he has a mum. I mean,
okay, so he's willing to pay $5 and wait.
But in this case, he doesn't have to wait.
Right.
So he's okay. So I guess it's a strange.
But if the mocher only sold it for $5, he wasn't in it. I mean, why would the mocher sell it so cheap?
No, because that's all he can sell it for. But what I'm thinking is, who would purchase it? In other words, when you purchase something, the purchaser is purchasing it. He has to purchase with. It's just a strange price determination here. You're purchasing it. In the normal case of Thomas, I'm purchasing it knowing the possibility that I may never get benefit from this because I will develop into the future or whatever, right? So the fact is that's where the before Tam price comes to, with the determination that there's possibility. Over here in this one case, the guy's selling it, knowing full well
he'll be able to
shecht it right well.
Why should that make a difference?
Because you're right. Because the guy's saying, "I'm willing to shecht it. I'm willing to sell it to you at the price," as if, so forth and so forth. It's just from the purchaser's perspective. I guess you're right. He's getting a really good deal. But the fact is, it's going to.
I just don't know how you. I don't know why you should be able to sell it before Time. I thought it was kaddish. I don't know.
But it already has a mum.
No, the before Time will.
How can you come up with a price like that?
How could he sell it then?
Right.
You could sell it before Time. Like what you're saying, if a person will buy it, then because if it's a mum, it'll be okay. But how do you sell it in the first place? I don't know.
It's not in his moment.
Of course, it's not his moment. If it's still a before Time, it's.
Well, it's just selling the right to.
Just like I am. That's what he is. That's okay.
Yeah. So
he says the ayin sham. This is my little gasi. Shapilpul b'divrei Yaran, that the Ran says b'chomat she'avar la Pesach. I don't know what the Ran says over there. Because there was also a knas, right?
Right.
So on that knas he's mefalpul. I guess if he did sell to someone else, I don't know. But prati advaran tzrich and chibur miyuchadis. If I go into the details, I'd have to write a whole chibur. I'm just pointing out this Morid Gazi and look up there and see his shadows. Okay. The ayin shach yeridei semen. It's amazing because that means he would have been able to write a report, he just didn't do it, right? The ayin shach yeridei semen shin yidgel sivkon beis v'kasep. The dafka lechatchila.
What's really amazing is how many times he's written that. Just let me how many he says I read a whole Hebrew.
Right.
You know, it's like not just one time he's written that.
Ayin shach yeridei semen shin yidgel sivkon beis v'kasep. The dafka lechatchila aser lishchot al mumzeh. Okay, in other words, there was a knas. Avlim avar v'shachat mutter abasar la'acherim v'lo la'atzma.
Okay.
Because they gave a knas, you can't shecht, but if you do shecht it, you're not allowed to eat it, but other people could eat it. We find those knases by the Shabbat, you know,
right.
V'ayim b'sefer hanal, shapilpul v'divri hashach, lama yeh mutter la'acherim, kivin sheyesh lo ha'ano, because once you say it's mutter la'acherim, so he's going to benefit. Why? Because he's going to be able to sell it to him or give it to him. Imachro bazul, because he's for benefiting, because the other people are going to be able to eat it without. They're not going to have to shecht them. They're going to eat it. V'gam guf adin shekazah shach she'aser la'atzmo pilpul hu ba'arach. If the knas was a unit for the evidence, you shechted it. The din ze'ein ba'or the after imaver v'shachan bater. Well, maybe Rishalmi the Shvius Perak Dala Chabez Gabi in the Taibe B'Shvius. So I don't know the case, but I guess there was a question if a guy did something on Shvius, so you gave him a knas. Pilpul Barichus the Efshir the Mutter the evidence not like the Shach. There could be if he does Shach for this Mutter, below Hela Shtavar Bar, and he doesn't come out with a clear maskana. But anyway, but the Shach does say that it's Asr to Shech v'chatchila, and if you Shech, it's Asr to the guy who Shechted, and Mitter to Acher.
Is that Acher with Rishus of the ball? Because someone, like
that's what he thinks. I mean, how could they do it without Rishus of the ball? I mean, they're not gonna.
I mean, when he seems to imply Mitter Acherim, it's like. It's just like, does it become like Hefker, or
no, you seem to find that's what he's like here, because he said the problem that he's getting Hanoah.
He's getting Hanoah, because the original thought is it's like Hefker.
Why would it become Hefker? I mean,
once it's shechted, so you can sit there and say, so it shouldn't just be wasted. You're not taking your Hefker Bez and Hefker, and they're saying other people can benefit because this guy shouldn't benefit. But it doesn't seem to be like that. It seems to be that he has the right to still distribute to people, and that's why he gets Hanoah from it. Yeah.
O pilpul sham v'meridol gazi, kamod lo kansin b'no achrov. Because that we had before, that if the guy dies and the son yershins it, there's no knas in the son. Rak l'lokech l'kal matana. We do knas in a third party who bought it from the guy, or got a matana from him, Mishum Demati Hanoah Lenosim Moch Moshchaz Male, because you can't let that guy have Hanoah, because then it comes out that the Moch or Nosim benefited. Ma'u Hadin, this is your case, Im Hifker Habachor, right? Oh, Ger Sh'asa Mum B'Safik B'Chor Shalo, because then he means that the gear dies, it becomes Hefker, I guess. The Gamli Israel Kansu B'Safik B'Chor K'mosh K'sav L'Eil, because by the Rabbanim we said they gave a knas. U'meis, and the ger died Van L'Yorshim. V'Zachol Anashim in a Hefker, Ashalom Gam came to Lo Kansu Azochim K'mo the Lo Kansu B'No. Which is Mustari, because the guy didn't. O Asher, Davka B'No, the Nafal B'Yusha B'Al Korchel. Aval Zochim in a Hefker, Kivin the Daitim Zochim. Shayach knas, but what would be the reason for the knas?
Sorry, shachted.
Maybe he's talking this. Maybe he's talking where it's not shach, but remember before he said machol la'achar u'anos la'achar mikol makom oso la'achar aser l'shokto, right? So that's the case that the achar can't shechta, because then the Kohen would be getting, then the owner would be getting Hanoah. So he's talking about that that it didn't have where it's still usher the shechta become a kamasmach the shechta. So what's the dafka beno the nothing is shul but hard they didn't make it usher into shechta. Rabbi hazochim in a hefker kiven the midaitim zochem shach knas. I just don't see why would there be a knas. What did they do?
He's saying when he made the animal hefker.
What?
He made the animal hefker.
Right. Before the shechita. Right. But so someone's over from hefker and shechted it. So why give that guy a knas? Because the guy's not benefiting from it. Right, we said before the problem with the other guy shechting it is because the mocher or nosen is getting hanoah. Because this guy could shecht him and he's makratov or he's paying him money. Right. But in this case, the guy made it hefker, so he's not getting any hanoah from the other guy. So what should be wrong with the guy shechting it?
Because that's strange. Because he's saying it's midaitim zochen.
Vafuki hefker, vafuki yerusha that it came about court.
But now he's talking about the receiver.
Right.
Beforehand. He says midaitim zochim, that somehow their knowledge of where it came from.
He's still only makratov, because the other guy was mapping. I don't hear it. See the way they bring rayas, I know that. And he's not bringing raya. He says, I'm just showing you things to look into if you want to work on it. Just let me see what time it is.
There's a clock right there. Just noticed it.
Oh yeah, and it'd be nice. Okay. The Hine B'Shas Kan Lamadalad Amanalach Mavur the Isra Zeh Eino Rak Knasa the Rabbanan V'Lo Konsul Beno, which you mentioned a couple times already. The Ayin B'Tos the Ramaskal Ni Hikshu Misafri the Mavur Sham the Minatorah Usher, because Me'alav the Losochel Kol Taweva. In other words, since you weren't allowed to make the moon, it's called a Taweva. So that's a Sifri. A Tirtu the Rabbanan in the Gemara, they don't hold like that Sifri. And they hold the pasuk of Taweva. It's not going on this case of Tachor, but Dorshu pasuk of Psuli Amukdashim or Lubas B'chalav. But not for the case of Bechor. V'chein das Ramam Kan Perik Beis Alachazan B'chol Rishonim, that it doesn't go in this case of Bechor. V'ayim V'mishlam Melech Kan Perik Dal Alach Al V'piska Hamaschelos V'dash Achir Hissig Al Aram, that's Mizrachi Shatam Al Aram Shasover Dainis Sirek Rabbanan Mehada Sifri. Mizrachi says, how come the Ram didn't pass on like the Sifri? The Emes V'shasi Dan Malur came, because our Shas says it's only Knes. So you see, the Shas doesn't hold like the Sifri. Well, maybe B'Shem Sefer Pri Chodesh Shehi Sigamkin Al Ram Bozeh, that he doesn't understand the Mizrachi's Kasha from the Sifri when you see the Shas doesn't hold of the Sifri. Okay. Ach, he says, Divya Rambam Stasriya, that is another problem with the Rambam Soser. The Kan Pasuk Kashas Tilan the Einu Chaser Al Rabbanan is Knas. The Perik Yud Ches Mipsuli Amakdashim Halachai Pasuk the Kachim Shehidul Bo Mahum Aser Minatorah Lacho regular Kachim Nepsu, then they made it Mum. It's Aser Minatorah Lacho Lokim allowed the Losocha Kol Toeva. Oh,
that's really like the Sifri.
And that's like the Sifri. So what are you going to say? Bechor is different. So what's the chiluk? The chalak being Bechor lekachim the nolan. Ayin Shem. So who's asking this kasha? I guess this is one of the Mishmal's kashas. The Ayin Bechul and Dafkav Teslav and Aleph. The Kan b'Marit Al Gazi. I guess that's the sugi of Taweva that we had before last week. Herich Yamkein Me'od Bazeh. Because this is a very strong question. Maybe b'shem sefer b'nei Yaakov shemiyashiv divrei harambam the parrot yiches v'sulam mikdash amari b'zman hamikdash al kain there was an issue deraisa and so some rishon lo lam the tzaveva אבל בהלכות בכורות, מה יהיה בבחור בזמן הזה? על כן לא אוסר משום לאו, רק משום כנסה. There's no so-called taweva because the listener being matamum, I guess, is only a derabban according to this. V'ayin sham shehitim b'davar, he explained it well and he gave it a kishmaga reason. The Torah is pasha v'yiniach b'kusha kivin dehu lav ma chilik yesh b'zman. So I guess Mishmal says if it's a lav ma chilik yesh b'zman ha-mikdash b'zman hazeh halo darshan in time with the krah. The Chora Divri Abnei Yaakov Shutim. There's man a mekdash over in Belavi Matalum Bekachim. Ayin Shas B'Chora Stam Givan on the day around Perik Maybe Seren's Bech. You can't shak shaper halal the blood kosher to Yaftach. Aval Bazman Azad the Matalum Bekachim who rack with the Rabbanan. Even the Lochazer Lakrav. Ayin Bavod Azara. Im Kain like he said Rovi Rishonim hold that way. Im Kain Ainu Asim with the rights of the low Nasa Bo Tueva. So the Matalum you didn't do it Tueva. The mitminat Torah allowed to b'amom right with Rabban Aser. Al-Kain I know Aser al-Mishum Knas. So therefore he's saying l'chora the Bnei Yaakov's teretz is a simple teretz. Ach b'emes a Ram midvil yodo mishtali. I don't know what that means. This is certain, but who's mad? Emes Harambam Madvil Yodo Mishtalim. Well, I guess it means a Mishnah Teretz. Why? The whosoever, because the Aptis Manazeh Matalam Fishim over below us Harak Dain Lokin. So if the Ram, so in other words, Ram doesn't hold his Manazeh, so the Rabbanan. It's also allowed. Just for some reason, you don't get Malchus. I am Bidvar of the Hedja Perikal Mishrim is bad. So therefore, you can't make this Teretz. So it should also be a Tueva if there's a lav. I am Lechamisha Shutamolav. I'll call upon that. Why does he say it's a manashach? It's a lava energy of Malchus, and if it's not allowed, it's only the Rabbanan. Why? What's shot? It's a low so without Malchus. This man has said, "I tamulav." But he says, whatever it is, I call upon him. Das Ramam Kainu that it is a lav. You can't give his man as a shach lavs at a toevik, even though it's her deraisa.
Before he developed the whole idea, there wasn't this deraisa.
What?
His whole discussion before.
He said Rover is showing him hold it's not a deraisa. He didn't go into what the
Rambam. He said the Rambam holds. No, you're right. He says he didn't say about the Rambam. He said Rover is showing him. He said the Rambam.
So here he's saying there's a Rambam that's Mashmet to lava. I just don't understand the chilik of the lava and the wires and the Malchus.
Right.
Let me see. I just have a note on the bottom. I'll point it down. Ram Kain Naktu Achroni B'das Rambam. That it's a lava, there's no Malchus. He brings a whole bunch of Achronim, Kesamish, Revav, Kirkus, Piece of Shrine, Chasam Sofers, Ulam, Yesha, Kasa, Shaf, around Modish was Manazayina over below Sister. How they get away from his language, I don't know. He said it's a Chazanish.
How do you have it, but it's not, why is it included Malchus now?
I don't know. Oda, Shalom, or Shafi, Masra, David, Minator, Mikolcham, Kimsh, Moda, Ramashan, Logan, Lav, and Bachal, Taweva. So that's I was trying to think of that, but what's the difference as long as there's a lot of relation with the two? What's the square of the time? The explanation is the Hardana local of Das Rabban who assumed the Osimi Ribui, because it's not the Lav Kipshuta is only the plan of Mikdash, and there's some kind of Ribui to be Marbi even Bisman has that. Lo Nisrab El Lazara Lo Malchus. Kimisha Kain, since it's only Ribui, could be it's not Biklal Socha Kal to that's not the Mustabit thing. Once it's alive, it should be a Tveva. He says that's a Chandas Israel. Okay, I'm going to stop here because